what the state is today. Are we alive? Are we live? Do people even know? Are we awake? Is the coffee working for anybody else? It'd be nice to know. But in the meantime, hello and welcome to... I'm calling it the Burnout Hour. Thursday. Well, I suppose an introduction. Good day and welcome your faces to this episode of Nonsense. I'm Doug. This is Dreams Void. This is a mess. And you're coming along for the ride. We'll find out what's going on. Because I have no clue. I'm making this up as I go along. This is a check-in day. Just check in, see what's going on, see what's occurring. We're going to take stock of the state of current projects. We're going to see what it is we need to focus on, where we need to go next. And all in all, just see what's going on. You know, we're just going to see what's going on. Because, hey, I'm tired. How are you? It's 1 p.m. here in the UK. It's 2 p.m. in places in Europe. It is 8 a.m.-ish on the east coast of the USA, and if you're elsewhere inclined, well, we'll figure it out, because time zone math. Nobody has time for time zone math, which is brilliant. So, let's get started. We shall have a check on the printer block, on the Prusa block. So, if you have only mildly been following along at home, the Prusa block is where we take a Prusa Mini and rebuild it out of everyone's favourite 3D printing specific construction toy printer block. We have been, over the last couple of weeks, designing said project, and since last week I've been printing the files that we have created. We can actually have a check-in, have a check. We can actually jump into Tinkercad and take a look. Yes, you are right. I did make the logo. I did make the thumbnail for this stream in Tinkercad because, you know that I like Tinkercad. Although, what is it? There was one that I was introduced to this week that I kind of want to take a look at, and that's Cadoodle. It's an offline, essentially clone of Tinkercad. I'm just going to make sure that this is linked to the right scene. There we go. So that's now linked. Let's take a gander. So, take a look at the Prusa Mini build within Tinkercad, and then we'll check off the pieces that we've got printed within the real world. Whoop, that one. So we can go from there. Wow, that's a mess. That is a mess. This project is horrific to load, but oh well. Whoa. Twisty. How do you do twist views? That's that is really skew-iffed. So if we go front, there, it's flat now. So, what have we got? We have got, let me just double check. We have got a box with blocks in a Prusa Spool box. So let's go through. We have got the display angler, which is this one here. We have got a half block Gigantoblock, which is somewhere here. There's one. So there's one. We have got the Y motor holder, which is over here. We have got the X carriage end piece, which is here. We have got the piece of the extruder, another piece of the extruder. So we've got the extruder assembly, which is something along those lines when you put it together. Another half block, so we've got two half blocks, Y carriage rod, extruder lever. We've got a reasonable chunk. We've got the electronics enclosure. We have got one of the Y-axis, Y faceplates, screen holder, an L, we've got three 1x2s already printed. So we've got a few pieces left to print. I've realized that I've not shown the box. We've got a few pieces left to print. We're getting there. We are getting there. So I'm happy with that. I do wish that I had it all finished for today, but hopefully it's all finished for Thursday. So if all goes well and there's no print issues, Thursday we shall fully evaluate all of the pieces that we have got printed, make sure that they are toleranced for nuts and so on, and then we start to take apart. We start to take apart our Prusa Mini, and it's a bit sad because, well, the Prusa Mini works, and I don't really want to take it apart because it's working, but that's a part of the deal. It's a part of the deal. So there we go on that front. What else have we got going on? We have done some initial groundworks on a RoboPad block, on a RoboPad powered printer block cleaner upper for Smurf, because we, last Smurf, so March 27, we had the whole fun of, well, the floor was covered in printer block in the STEM area, which was great. It meant that people were enjoying themselves, people were having fun. So we need a way to tidy it up. And if I can find my lovely doodle, wherever I put it, we have started to expand upon the idea to get a proper baseline of what it is we're aiming for. So let me transition my camera to the close-up desk shot, and hopefully we can all see that. Oh wait, I forgot to start recording. Because I'm good at this. This is the burnout hour after all. It's a very low stakes interaction today. A low stakes interaction. We know what we've signed. You know what you've signed up for with a title like Burnout Hour. People are tired. People have worked far too many hours in the last 5 days. But it is what it is. So, here it is. This is a sideways view for what has been proposed. A sideways view, a side-on view as to what's been proposed. 3 sets of tracks and some form of scoop or flipper. Looking at the RoboPad board, from how I understand it, I don't see an issue with powering a servo and an extra motor. As far as I understand, we can do that. That is something that I still need to check in with RoboPad on, RoboPad 4, because if I'm wrong on that front, well, that's going to suck, because then we need to find another way to power the conveyor belt as it takes the blocks back up into the bucket. That's the word I'm looking for. Back into the bucket. So we shall see how this plays out in another, either a bit more today or later this week, assuming that not all of the blocks have printed for the Prusa block. Speaking of blocks for the Prusa block, when I find the right one, nope, we can look at the, is it this scene? This scene. Let's go for this one. We can see that the Prusa block printer, or what will be the Prusa block, is churning away in some pink. And the original Prusa Mini, this guy here, hello, so the one that's, no, the one that's here. So if the camera wraps around, the one that's printing in blue is working on, I didn't name the plates, so I don't know which plate it is, which is kind of bad, because really I should know what plate it is. I wonder, can I interact with this and focus on full screen? It's a little bit better. There we go. So show only that one, because that's the one that's printing there. It's getting there. It's getting there. I think we're at, there's 9 plates to print. We are 3 left. So the 2 that are actively printing, plus 1 more after this. I suspect that will be it. There we go. There we go. It's quite a, yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. Because hey, we're just relaxing this week. It is just a nice, casual, relaxing stream today. Right. Let's have a check as to the flow and the plan for today, because I do have a little plan. In fact, we could take a closer look at the pieces printed so far. Let's do that. Let's take a closer look. so get the right shot. And we'll check in on those later. Ooh. Vibrant. Vibrant. Do we have a shot that also includes... We do. We do have a shot that also includes. So we can figure out what we've got and what we haven't got. How can we make that? Transform, center to screen. We can bring it over here and zoom in a little bit. And then, there we go. Haha! Hello, Josh. How are you? Wobble wobble. I know wobble wobble. I don't have anything I can prop it on at the moment. Or do I? It's still going to wobble. So let's have a check-in and go through and make sure that I've actually printed all the right things. In progress right now are an L, a 1x4 and a 1x2, and a 1x4 and the 13x2, sorry, the 11x2 and the top plate. I need to do that with the Death Racers. We all need to do lots of things, Josh, don't we? We've got lots of things that we all need to do. And realistically, are we doing them? Who knows? So let's have a gander through the pieces that we've printed. The Z Tower base and the Z Tower top. There we go. A 1x4 and an L. So let me move that over there a bit more. Bring those to here. The top will go there. The base will go somewhere there. I'm going to rotate it sideways. That way? I think it's that way. So that would go here. I think it's like that. And that would be the L, the Z-axis. I think. No, that's backwards. So those would line up there, and there, and there we go. I think. Or it's like that. That makes more sense. Which means I'm printing an accidental duplicate of this, of plate number 4. Oh dear. Because there's only one L block used in the whole thing, so I've printed it twice accidentally. Split objects. Please tell me you preserved the name. No. Darn it. I need to rename those. An excuse to build another. No. So, let's just do this. We've printed that. We've printed that. We've printed that. The rear piece printed. The 1x3, regular 1x3 is printed. So we can get rid of that. A regular 1x2. Oops. That is printed. Is there another 1x2 somewhere? Yes, there. We've printed the Z top, which is here. No, Z top is here. X carriage end. That looks like the X carriage end to me. Let's keep going. The filament, the extruder idler. We've got one of those. Motor block. Got one of those. The display, what do you call it? What is that? That's the thing where we can determine our angle that lines up with the display itself. So they latch together. We've got that. And clearly the display. So we've got that one, and we've got the display. We have got one so far of the 11 by 2s. Get rid of that. We have got the extruder piece. We've got all three of the extruder bits actually. So we can get rid of that one. Another 1x2 gone. Is there another one? Yes, there is over here. So that's in the pile. Then we have got the main piece of the Mini Z carriage. So that can go. Another 1x4 Gigantoblock. So that can go. The electronics enclosure itself. So that can go. Another 1x2. So that one can go. And then so far, we have got a single wide Y-rod holder. No, sorry, we've got two. So that one can go off of plate 9. And a single regular Y-rod holder. And I printed the motor block in orange because I couldn't remember which way around it needed to be. So I printed it twice. And there we go. That's all of the pieces so far that we have got printed for the Prusa block. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Josh? Oh. It's fine. It's fine. I'm overrun with excitement and anticipation as to this project. You just woke me up. How did I wake you up? By saying your name? Is it because I said your name? Now I get to put all of this back in the filament box. So this is fun. Wow. Okay. So I'm that entertaining you're falling asleep. Thank you. Thank you for the vote of confidence. Ah, oh, darn it, Prussia. Your filament box is just a tiny bit too narrow. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. It's not a goal that all of the pieces go back into a filament box by any stretch. It's just, it looks more visually appealing. If I just put them all in. At least I think it does. So you go there. No. So the other one by will go there. So for the time being, let's just put all of the half blocks in the back. And then we'll have a decent idea. It's not you, Doug, it's me. Well, get more coffee. This stream is sponsored by coffee. Because coffee is everyone's friend. You too can speak to coffee if you go to the affiliate link in the description and go to 3D Jake. Vendors of the finest of things that we require for making our printers happy. They make our printers happy because we do such a good job at making them happy. They provide the things that we need to do maintenance, because we all do definitely do maintenance on our printers. 100%. Something like that. And then we just keep putting all the pieces in. And they all just go in nicely. Andy's got a steak and cheese grinder. Oh, Arby's got a steak and cheese grinder. I was going to say, who's Andy? And is he sharing? Something like that. That is a nice offensive colour palette, if I don't say so myself. The only thing that can make this better is some pink, which I'm using some pink now. Did I really accidentally print that plate twice? That sucks. I've got some spare blocks though, can use them for something else. I'm not printing a second Prusa block, mini specifically, anytime soon. So that goes there. That goes there. That can go there. And then the display piece can go here. And see? All neatly put away for the time being. So, on today's agenda, because, you know, I just wanted to go through this to make sure that we've not printed too much and wasted too much filament when it loads. I believe this is currently in progress. This plate here is in progress, as is this plate on another printer. It just sucks because I wanted this set in blue. No, this set's in pink. This set I want in blue. What color connectors? The color of the connectors doesn't matter. Realistically speaking, the color of the connectors doesn't matter. So, you know, I've just got the massive box when it stops bouncing with connector pullers in it because they're useful. Well, they're printed in PETG. That's everything else is PLA. I've done the connectors in PETG. PETG, so you get that little bit of flex. So they snap together nicely. So there's some translucent, some reds, some yellows, and a few black. If you have any naked sides. Maybe. Not 100% sure, but maybe. Colors peek through. Yes, yes they do. I know this. I'm aware of that one. If you're using any panels specifically, they show through quite a lot. Are we getting artifacts on the stream, by the way? Yes, we are. We are getting artifacts, so something is breaking somewhere along the line of transcoding this stream. Great. It's the life cam keeps flickering every now and again. So it's got the focus hunting, and then every now and again it goes Flah! So there was one about 20 seconds ago. I don't know if it's going to do it again. We'll see. Yeah, there. It just did it. So if you were to jump back 5 seconds, you'll see it flicker again. It's breathing. Yes, it is. So we have got 2 plates left to print. Two plates left to print. Let's just have a quick peek. We have got the panel, the top panel for the electronics enclosure, a 1x4 and a, what do you call it? One of the Y faceplates, the 11x2. And I've accidentally reprinted an L, a 1x4, and a 1x2. Oh well. I can swap out. That means that I can swap out the orange 1x4 Gigantoblock for either the blue or the pink, and have more of a diverse spread of colour and a reduction in the amount of orange, because there's quite a lot of orange so far in this print. You're an OCD. I'm not an OCD. I'm an autistic. There's a difference. I don't have like all of the debilitating where I have to flick a light switch, for example, so many times. I do have my preference of not having, in printer block builds, I do have the preference of not having like-coloured blocks next to each other. So not having a blue touch of blue where it's avoidable, for example, if you've got enough diversity in the blocks that are printed. I like that, but it's not a requirement. It's just a preference. So left to print is this one, which, to be fair, I can take off the 1x2 and then just leave those. Stepping three times before I could put a sock on. No, that's just you losing your balance. As you stood there, you're trying to put your sock on, so you 1, 2, 3, and then you get your sock on. That's what you're doing, Josh. You're losing your balance. You should try sitting down to put your socks on. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. So yes, I can take off that 1x2 from that plate, which will speed it up a little bit. Place that on its face because then it actually prints better. And then I want that one rotated 90. So it prints along the y-axis instead. There, slice. Okay, so it is autism. Yeah, you just don't have the balance for it. So sit down and then put your sock on. There we go. Center connect, 2 hours, 4 minutes. We can do that. I don't want it in green because I've got too much green. Do I have another? Do I have another Prusa color? What other Prusa filament do I have? You can't see this, so you're just going to have to use your imagination until I show it on camera. Do I have a Prusa filament that is open? Yes, I do. It's the Galaxy Green. But I'm already using a dark green, so using the Galaxy Green at the same time is kind of boring. Even though it's a dark, there's nothing wrong with Galaxy Green. I like Galaxy Green. It's a very nice dark green with glitter in it. What other Prusa filament do I have? That's a Galaxy Green. Ooh. Ooh. Galaxy Red? I can see the gummies in your cadoodle. I don't know what you're talking about, Josh. I don't know what you're talking about. Who's got gummies in what cadoodle? I've got a Galaxy Red. Red and pink aren't too close together. Red and orange aren't too close together. We could do Galaxy Red. We can do it in Galaxy Red. We'll do that plate in Galaxy Red. When I find my scissors. Here they are, scissors. Remember, kids, scissors are sharp. Ask your grown-up helper to help you. There we go. Just PLA Galaxy Red. It's a nice deep red. In person, it's a nice deep red. If I hold it up to this camera. There you go. Light red, deep red. Light red, deep red. Just stab. No. No, because then I can use these to put the printer block in that I give away at Smurf. So you can build your printer block creation, show me what you've made, and take it home. Except if you're going there for the first time, ignore what I just said, and then be surprised when I tell you that you can keep it. Or, if you're going to Smurf for the first time, or you're taking somebody with you to Smurf for the first time, ignore what I just said. If you are taking somebody with you to Smurf for the first time, please, in Smurf 27, come along to the printer block table, or my table, the Dreams Void table, and have a go with some printer block in the STEM area. Build something cool, just show me what you've made. And then, just don't tell the person who you've brought with you, be they a small human, or a friend, or a small human that is your friend, or you're grown up, just don't tell them, and then you get to see their excitement on their faces. They get told they get to keep it. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Good idea, right? Just throw it away, dude. Who reuses things? Me, because keeping specific kits in a bag makes sense. Right, let us. It's going to be going on the Prusa Mini Plus that you can't currently see. So select printer. Actually, no. We need two. I'm going to transition. Wait, you can't see the slicer. Gosh darn. If I go open the Prusa Connect, you can't see it. So I'm going to narrate what I'm doing. Prusa Mini Plus. Material, PLA, unload filament. So that is now currently unloading. Man, someone else needs to be less salty in chat. Looks around. Oh, wait a minute. Is this one? Is this? No way. I think this is one of the spools with the NFC tag in it. You can see the NFC tag, or you can see something that looks like an antenna just there. Go on, focus. Focus. Yeah, see? Something. Why am I trying to look around when I'm looking at the camera? Yeah. Looks like he's got one of the NFC tags in. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool, right? And somebody else does need to be less salty, Josh. It's a productive day today. It's a very productive day. Don't get the whole NFC filament silliness. Get it for production, but no, not much more home use. I don't know. In a print farm environment, 100% agree. 100% agree. Being able to track your filament is great. For home usage, if it records, that's something I've never checked. Let's check right here, right now. If I scan the QR code, what does it do? It takes me to prusa.io. What is left on my spool? Nice. So you get to, you can't see that at all. If you weigh the spool, Prusa's website will tell you how much you've got left. Interesting. Interesting. And it tells you by default how many meters or feet that you've got of filament. So the spool, wow, this spool was made in 2025. That's a little bit old. I've got older spools. I've got spools that are older than that. You know, in particular, I've got some rep wrapper filament that was, I've got a batch number that I don't know what that batch number means. 210803A092310. So maybe the 23rd of September 2010. I don't think it was that. I don't know. I don't know how old it is, but I know it's old. It's older. Assuming they aren't reprogrammable. The QR code, no. The NFC tag, probably. If I can read it on my phone. Assuming it is an NFC tag. I can't get to it. Do I have an empty Prusa spool? They must be. I assume that the new Prusa NFC tags are reprogrammable. Because that way you can tell them how much filament you've got. Or the machine could say to the spool, hey, I've used this much. I don't think that's the NFC tag. No, that's not. Never mind. Never mind. It's not the Prusa NFC tag. It's not one of the newest spools. Never mind. Ignore me. I guess that's an internal thing. Right. Filament's now unloaded. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. There we are. Take off the nice green that I've been using. Make use of the hexagons, weave it through. There. You can go on the pile for the time being of the filaments that I'm actively using. And then we load up the red. It just tried to jump off the spool holder. Home. Filament. Load filament. PLA, please. And then waiting for temperature. And that is the last plate that I will need to print, as far as I'm currently aware, for the Prusa block. So by Thursday, we could have all the pieces. By Thursday, we could do a frame build to make sure that the frame looks okay. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that on Thursday. We could do a frame build and start the teardown of the Prusa Mini itself. Sound like a plan? Or do we do another burnout hour? I like the burnout hour. I don't like the feeling of the burnout hour, but I like the idea of the burnout hour. Oh, if you haven't, have a drink. I realise that you can't see that particular Prusa Mini Plus as I'm loading filament into it. So let's see if I can do anything about that. We need to interact with that window and then show all cameras. And then it's this one, the bottom one. There you go. You can see it now. More. I like to over-purge. Over-purging is silly. It's a tiny bit of waste, but at the same time, I'd rather make sure that my layers are clean. And then we can go back to Prusa Slicer where you can't currently see anything. And then I can go back to the platter, the sliced file, center connect, that you still can't see. Mini Plus, yes, the filament is the correct color. And then I can do select printer, confirm. Yeah, you can see the transitions. The transition's nice. It cleared it out relatively quickly, but at the same time, it's not that much hardship to just shove an extra purge through. Print. So the original Prusa Mini is about 41% of the way through. The Prusa block printer with its pink print is currently has just hit 30% of the way through. This one is a 2-hour something print. That I can maybe position the camera so that you can see it from above. Yeah, I can put the camera there. Then I just have the joys of tidying this up later. Thank you to Armchair for the masking tape, by the way. Armchair Heavy Industries. I stole the masking tape from them at Smurf. So thank you. Is it there? Yeah, that's good enough. There we go. So, I don't think you were here earlier, Josh. The plan for making life a little bit easier at Smurf 27. Have a robot run around or drive around and tidy up all the printer block off the floor. It's what we started last Thursday. It's what we started on Thursday. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. What else have we got? So those are churning away nicely. Make sure the first layer goes down on the Prusa Mini, on the Prusa Mini Plus. Yeah. You could have a robot just pushing blocks around while kids build. I could. But I want this to run around on the floor so that it's easier to tidy up all the blocks. I'm lazy, you know? And I'm trying to be efficient. Oh, nope, close the wrong thing. Did blocks fall? Yes. Yes, they did. They did a lot. There were a lot of blocks on the floor. Well, at home, mostly I build on a tray and I don't tend to drop them on the floor. So there's that. But this was at Smurf. This was at Smurf. The floor was littered with printer block. It was great because, in theory, I didn't have to tidy them up, but I ended up tidying them up. Transition. Of course it didn't. Is it this one? Yes, this one. So if I get the right browser window, this little scutterbug thing here with its arms is what I ended up using to try and push the printer block around on the floor. I want to make something with a bit more oomph, you know? So something with potentially a conveyor belt or something that then can what's the word I'm looking for? Tidy up so that I don't have to, maybe. So if I get the right RoboPad project, we were thinking this is based on I think Ken from 3D Printing Professor's Discord server. I can check that. Yeah, Ken. I think it was Ken. Or it was, yeah, it was. Using some form of tracks to make a tracked bot, maybe, or try to. I don't know, dude. I don't know. This is the thinking. A tracked bot with a scoop, with a conveyor belt on the top, to then push the blocks into a big enough container at the back. I don't know how to make tracks, which is what Reliance 3D was getting at me for. I don't know. This just feels like a big distraction, but at the same time, it's a cool distraction. Big and cool distraction. It's how do we go about making this work? That's the scary thing. We've got to figure out how to make it work. And yeah, I don't know anything about making tracks. Anything. Oh, for goodness sake. I keep fixing this scene, but Edge constantly changing its name is just really irritating. I should block out, pun intended, the rough shape of this thing, shouldn't I? Right. So take you, copy. Tinkercad, new design. Create 3D design. Yep, looks like my office with more space between chaos. How did you... Well, hello Dale, how are you doing? Going robo mode. Thank you, Ace. I'm glad you're all deciding to now wake up and join me. It's just this, you know? This. Yeah. This is the Chaos Dale. This is it. You know? Your contribution is mostly here. Oh. I'm finer than a frog's hair, and that's pretty fine. Well, good. Good to hear. How are you doing, Ace? Yeah. Yeah. Tired. Me too, buddy. Me too. That's why this one's called the burnout hour. Got woken up early with a work call. Good to see that it all went to a good home. Doing well here. Working with the new job. Good. I'm glad that the new job seems to be working. And the house. Hey, if you're settling in, that's the main thing, right? You did kind of upend yourself and end up on another continent for the second time in your life, as far as I'm aware. You ran away here and then you've gone back to the States. If you're okay with me sharing that information. If not, sorry. How on earth? Right. As I said, let's... That's it. Bumblebee is, however, back up and running. Good. Genuinely good. Let's block this out. So we want something that is not too big of a slope, not too steep of a slope, that is then track driven. So we want the track at the front of the thing, but also below the scoop. Good morning, 7 a.m. here. Good morning to you, Ken. You've joined me as I'm trying to fathom out this idea again. Oh, wait, I didn't transition. Of course I didn't. I did it again. Ace, it's your fault. Blaming Ace. It's Ace's fault. The chat thrives. Good. I'm glad. So try and figure out full credit. Good. I'm glad you're taking credit for your shenanigans. How? How do we do this? So you're both 34, so let's just make you, I don't know, 36 for the time being. Knock you out 3. And then align you in the middle. So what are you trying to make or break there? I am trying to make something along the lines of this. What is this? Good question. This is a printer block cleaner upper thing to drive around the floor at Smurf 27 to try and make the floors less trip hazardy with all the printer block that end up on the floor from the STEM area. Maybe. It's just while we're waiting on all the it's just while we're waiting on the you know, all the Prusa block. Yeah, all of the Prusa block to. Don't Roomba make such a thing? Shush! Shush! No, I'm not having an Amazon powered vacuum cleaner drive around. At Smurf, you know. I want to make a thing that does silly things that I can then use when it loads back up. A RoboPad. Oh, it didn't transition. A RoboPad. Yeah. And drive it controlled off one of those. Because RoboPad are cool. And it can actually be themed and 3D printed and tidy up all the mess. And it makes sense, right? 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 So, you know, try and figure out how to do this. Oops. Duplicate. There are others, but yeah. See? You agree. This. Up. Something along these lines. Are you going? So it needs 4 wheels and a conveyor belt. Or are you going for tracks? I would like to do tracks. I don't know how to do tracks, which is the thing that we were playing about with on Thursday, because it seemed like a fun idea. But at this exact moment, I'm just throwing nonsense to the wind and seeing what sticks. As I block out the idea and we can go from there. Duplicate, mirror. And then mirror. Just do it. Just do what? Reliance. Just do what? Can't tell me what to do. You're not my real 3D printer. Consider making a TPU printable track. This way you can drive. This way your drive points can just be a post with a knurled surface and just stretch it or have tension bolt to make it tight. It also makes the design much simpler. Yeah? But, you know. Mirror. Equally, And here's the sillies. I could get, sorry, I was really thinking for a moment. I could, oh, what? What is the maximum width of GT2 belt that I can get? I can get 10 mil of V belt. I could just get the widest timing belt and just use that. The more complicated they make the plumbing, the easier it is to stop the drain. Senior engineer at a company who hasn't paid for me to read their name out. I assume that that's the company, not the person. So no, that's the person's name, is it? And then we take that, we get rid of that one, we get rid of that one. Oh. Duplicate. Rotate. Not quite. I've never watched Star Trek, so I know nothing. You may be surprised or unsurprised to hear that. Actually, what is the widest timing belt you can get? I mean, I know the issue is the wider the belt, the thicker it is. Cloth elevator mine work. Yes, we could recycle the belt off of a baby belt. We could recycle the belt off a baby belt, because that should add enough friction at that point. I may as well just put a baby belt printer on wheels. That would be funny. That would be very, very, very funny. Oh, geez. Okay. Okay. Not wheels, tracks. I know. So then... All right, let's just finish blocking out a second. Let's go for something like this. And so long as the whole container doesn't get in the way of the belt, we should have sufficient room to throw a bunch of blocks in it. I can't find it, but the blue shape can be outfitted with cloth that runs around it. Yes. So we get a... If we have a pulley, I'm calling it a pulley. If we have a roller at the top that's mounted into the edges. No, I don't want to duplicate the blue ramp. We bring it to the front as well. So somewhere here. Then it's just a case of And the nice part, but yeah, you are heading for something that friction is your worst enemy. Too many mechanical joints will need a lot of help to keep from jamming. Plus you want the friction. And the nice part of the same drive used for the tracks can scale to move the belt. See, there's sufficient, where's RoboPad? There are sufficient points that we can use on here, right? So the RoboPad by default drives 2 motors, by default. You can use a Y-splitter off of that, off of each motor, so as long as you don't go too much current, and drive 4 motors, well, 2 motors per motor point. So two for the left track, 2 for the right track. You've then got 2 accessories, the E-ports. We could use a servo that's constantly rotating on the E-port to drive the belt. And then I think with E2, we can use a scoop. So once we've driven and got enough in the scoop, we can lift the scoop up. To then shove the things back on the belt to then go into the bucket. Yep, figured this already and looked like you were going to try and use those geared hobby motors. I could use N20 motors. I could use N20, but, oh, I put him back. The Sakillalot toy from Logistics, whatever you want to call it. This thing, I brain transplanted with a RoboPad. And this uses big geared motors, very big geared motors. So, and you can hear very big geared motors. And it had no issue. The RoboPad and the little 3.7 volt battery had no issues with this at Smurf 27, Smurf 26. If I needed another motor to drive the belt, if I need another motor to drive the belt, I can always add one off of the expansion headers. So let's bring that back up. So the RX, TX 3.3, whatever, I can add a H-bridge to that. Look deep in there. Note the rubber tracks and gears on each, with a gear on each track driving it. No, the tracks are stationary. These, they're fake tracks. They're wheels. It's driven by wheels. Fake tracks. Yes, they have rubber-coated wheels. Drive on that is PWM it is not. You can even pass a single mini MOF set to have high power. So again, the Sakillalot toy had no issues being driven at all, and it was quite speedy still. So yeah, there's a sentence there that I can't figure out what I'm trying to say. So I'm trying to figure out how to build a track. If I can figure out how to build a track, again, noting rubber, I could do TPU tracks. Whatever they use for the death races, I can steal that. Sorry, not steal. I can make reference to that. I could steal it, I think. I'm not going to. I want to try and build it myself with your guys' help. So, you know, if we can figure out how to do the tracks, we can figure out the rest. We can easily, I say easily, we can plagiarize. I like that. I like that. We can plagiarize Baby Belt. You know, maybe not the original Baby Belt, but we can plagiarize Baby Belt. That, yes. We can plagiarize Baby Belt for the conveyor belt that takes the blocks back to the bucket. We can plagiarize that easily. Because they use masking tape or electrical tape, whatever. Be influenced by. Yes, be influenced, not plagiarize necessarily. To bring the blocks up into the bucket. So we've got that going for us. And hopefully this way you have a track texture on the outside and a lightly textured on the inside, and just drive to grab. So you say have a TPU belt on the blue wedge. Is that what you're saying, Dale? Yes, and the tank tracks. Wouldn't that add a load of friction though? Oh wait, why did I do it that way? Yeah. I can just place it on that surface and then resize it. Silly me. So it comes all the way out to there, goes all the way up to there. And then we make it a height of 1. And let's make it green. Because green is the color of TPU that I've got. And Dale knows that I've got some green TPU. Ever seen them take tracks off a bulldozer or a tank? They just knock a pin out and it slides off as a single belt? Yes. That's kind of what we have going on here. Except any of these pins could be knocked out. And then we can drive those with these gear things here, in theory. Or we forego 700 individual track pieces, 700 individual screw pieces, and somehow somehow make something along the lines of I'm going to make it small for the sake of illustration. Something like that. Make it a little bit shorter. Duplicate. 1, 2. And then we do that. So if, well, maybe not that narrow. Align them all on one side. So then when it comes to printing, you would, be able to focus it. Boom. Print it on its side, because then you've got a flat edge on one side. You've got a slight offset for the other. I'm just printing a giant GT2 belt at this point. Just a giant GT2 belt. You know? And that way, we can take the off-the-shelf pulley, use as inspiration for the tracks. With the flat inside and a knurled drive rod. Pardon? Yes, but you can drive those with a flat inside and a knurled drive rod. See, my thought was, if I worked out the proper radius for these bumpy bits to go around a pulley type thing. I'm just going to steal this cog for a minute. You know, bloop bloop. Just figure out the radius curve there. If it all fit, I could just print that on the C1 or the K1 and just print it all in place with the closed loop anyway. And then have a tensioning method on the side of the bot frame. Something like that. I don't know. So then I don't need to worry about seaming it together. I can just print a complete loop. If I could get a 40mm wide piece of GT2 belt, then I'd just need to print a 40mm wide pulley. Yep, that's the other method. And as for adding texture to the TPU, I don't necessarily need to do that, or I could use Stefan from CNC's Kitchen's texturizer website, or something that's built into Prusa Slicer or Orca Slicer to add, or just print it. Yeah, just use the slicer to add the texture to that surface so that I don't need to worry about doing it in Tinkercad. Make the belt, yes. It's a fair chunk of TPU, but this simplifies it massively. Having a solid belt versus individual tracks. That really does simplify it a lot. Wow. Wow. Okay. So if I've got a 220 millimeter bed on the K1, so how big of a circle can I get on there? So if it's 220 by 220, how big of a circle is that? Yes, and a manufacturer uses a lot of the materials to make them as well, but you aren't making something that's going to take loads of wear. TPU 95A or 90A would work nice. 220 by 220. So that's the build plate on the K1, give or take. So how big? Let's go for a ring or a tube. How big is that? Wall thickness 1. No. 0.1. How do you measure the length of a circle? Because I can't remember. It does simplify it. How will you put on the transport belt? The same way. Again, we can borrow from Baby Belt. We can borrow from Baby Belt. Whoops. One moment. Grab my Baby Belt. So they use these tensioners. They use tensioners. So you go up there. Baby Belt can sit there because we're now being inspired by Baby Belt. Let's take the wedge that we're going to build inside. We'll hollow it out. And we'll place it on this wall here. We'll align it in the middle. Oops. We will align it in the middle. Place you back on that wall. Align you vertically in the middle. And then knock you back a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll do for illustrative purposes. So, group you. Duplicate you. Move you over here. Duplicate, go away for a minute. I don't need you. Right, let's rotate. What we can do is we can cut a hole all the way through. Drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That'll do. So we'll cut a hole at the top. And then you would cut a hole at the bottom, give or take. Pi diameter. Pi times diameter. Diameter is the total width, right? Because if the total width is 220, that's a 600 something millimeter belt. So we would shrinky shrink for a moment. And then let's just paraphrase this. Paraphrase. I know what I mean. I don't know the exact angle right now. But we would thread the belt inside. So then we've got our drive cylinder top and bottom. Our drive cylinders at the top and the bottom, roughly in the right place. Oh, wrong one. And our belt would go over those, and we would push it in place and tension it using the same twisty things that the baby belt does, but try and do it from the underside. Thank you for joining, Dale. I will be back streaming at well, 4 o'clock Thursday, 4 p.m. your time on Thursday, 4:30 p.m. East Coast on Thursday. So feel free to join in again. It was great to see you here. Genuinely brilliant to actually know that you're doing all right, mate. If you don't have enough speed, no block will land on the moving belt. I know that, Reliance. I'm trying to work it out. Although, having said that, the idler, this one here could be further down. It doesn't need to be the same size. It can be a lot thinner of a radius. Radius? Whatever word you want to use. It could be a lot thinner and further down, and it's just an idler at the base. It doesn't need to be driven. You know? Maybe? I don't know, dude. I'm trying to work it out. Hence I said cloth scooper, but I can't find the actual picture of that. So the base one can be a lot thinner than the top one. I can't make it not match, so we're just going to have to pretend that this goes all the way around on the top edge. And we go from there. Because I have a spare baby belt. I can just plagiarize. I can just borrow this to use this to scoop up the printer block. Because for the drive tracks belts, I like Dale's suggestion of we just print a closed loop belt. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Especially if I can just lean into, well, let's borrow what Gates do with their belts. Which is why I was trying to work out how long of a belt I would get on a as printing out a circle on the K1 or the C1, you know, with a 220mm circle. Found it in your Discord. Okay. Move. Yes. Yeah. So that's a Teflon sheet, isn't it? I can't remember the exact name of it. Super thin. Yeah. I could get a sheet of that material, as close to the ground as we can get. Yeah. And that thing's happy to go on a narrow radius, so we can have it go really close. I have 3mm rods, so I can just use a 3mm rod towards the front. And then we just need to make sure the ground clearance of the bot is low to the floor as well. Or we have the... something like that. Thinner is better. The thinner the better. Welcome back, Ace. This is where we've gotten to. We have gone from individual track pieces, because screw that, that's a lot of work, that's a lot of assembly, to making something that is paraphrasing or inspired by a closed loop belt, a closed loop piece of belt. So printing a belt with teeth out of some 90 or 95A TPU and using a glorified pulley to drive them. Yeah, because it's a lot easier. And then using a piece of cloth or some Teflon sheet, a round piece of Teflon sheet or something, I guess, maybe not Teflon specifically, but a round piece of cloth, a cylinder of cloth, there we go. The cylinder must remain intact, as the actual up ramp to the bucket to pick up the blocks off the floor. Ta-da! I just paraphrased the last 20 minutes into 35 seconds. Because that's what I do. If any of that makes sense, please hit the like button. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah. So we've got a better idea as to what we're going for now. We know what we're going to drive. Belts. 3 of them. 2 for being on the ground and 1 for moving the blocks. Potentially, we can get, and hopefully the movement of the car itself bumps the blocks onto the scooper. Yes. Hopefully this means that if we can get the conveyor belt, it's going that way. No, it's going that way. We can get the conveyor belt as close to the ground as possible, or the front of the car as close to the ground as possible. Hopefully there's enough momentum to launch the block up onto the conveyor belt into the bucket. And of course, because it's me, it's got to look like printer block. So we get to theme this thing once we've finally worked out what it is and how we're doing it. And if we can print-to-blockify the mounting system for everything, so the things that hold the motors, if they can be printer-blockified, if the bucket on the back can be printer-blockified, we'll be good. We'll be good. Oh, man. This is fun. Fun. I feel a lot better now with this than I did before we started the stream. A lot better. Because I was nervous with it, to be honest, as to how it was going to go. But thankfully, you lot have corrected and steered me in the right direction. So let's grab that, bring it over here. Something there. Somewhere in the middle. And then we get some solid loops. Of track. So then we need, what do I need? What do we need? What do we need? You and you and you. Again, we're just going for the visuals at the moment, not actually the actual thing. That's behind my camera. So you're 10 tall? Yeah, you're 10. So make you 10 tall, and you 10 tall. And then we'll take you, make you 10 tall. Focus. Something like that. And group, no, not yet. And then you are the right way. And you're in the right place, so loop. This is just for the appearance of a belt loop. Rotate. Make it grey. Not that far back. About there. Drop you 1, 2, 3. Duplicate. Move you over. Drop you against the wall. Move you off by 5, I guess. And then we've got something that mildly resembles what it is that we're trying to do. Mildly resembles what it is we're trying to do. There you go, Reliance. How about now? That's a much better idea. A much better idea. Because now we're just using glorified 20mm wide belts, I guess, and 20mm wide pulleys. That should be sufficient friction for the ground. Oh, you're working on your own stream at the moment. Sorry. We've got glorified belts. We can add, if I can find 20mm wide belts, then I can just use off-the-shelf closed loop belts. If not, then thumbnails are a pain. Why do you think I just made mine in Tinkercad this morning? 2 belts each side works too. 2 belts. So if I could get 2 20mm belts, man, 20mm GT2 belt. Gears and sprockets. 6mm wide, 10mm wide. No, but 10mm wide belt. We could do that, and we could just get 2 pieces, assuming that there's enough friction on it, because that's the piece that we'll be missing at that point. Would regular timing belts provide sufficient friction for the ground? Do I have in my box of wonders? Yes, I do. Thank you, Dale. Would there be? Because that feels very hard. So this is a piece of belt that my face is in the way. Yeah, we all know what timing belts look like. This doesn't feel... creates more friction than PLA or PETG. Depends how much weight's on it. Okay. So it's possible. There's the potential that could work. And if not, we can always print it, can't we? So if we design around like a 40-tooth pulley or something, we could design around a 40-tooth pulley. Yeah, why not? Why not? Right, let's just use off-the-shelf things that we can easily get our hands on, because that makes a lot of sense. Use the things that we know that we can get. Like, you could get some GT2 belt from 3D Jake by using the link in the description. Oh, vendors of everything that you need to maintain your 3D printers, because we all know that we definitely maintain our 3D printers. You know, we all do the maintenance that we're supposed to do. In the words of Zachary 3D Prints, we clean the beds, we check the screws, and we lubricate the moving parts, because we definitely do it. Yes, we definitely all do that on a regular basis. If there's too much weight on the belt surface, if there's too much weight and the belt surface is too slick, then it won't move. Yeah. So maybe it would be the better idea to, if we just use the GT2 profile and if we use the Gates GT2 profile of spacing and such, we can upscale it to what we need. What's the matter, Ace? What are we doing wrong? Your first NEMA 11 worked. Yes! Brilliant! That is good news. That is great news for your baby belt build. Congratulations. Now do it 2 more times. No, once more, because there's only 2 NEMA. Yeah, there's only 2 NEMA 11s on the baby belt. The recreator method worked. Well, it's almost like I talk sense from time to time. Yeah, so Ace has been a little bit hesitant when it comes to rewiring some NEMA 11s. Understandable, because it's not his area, typically. to go into the electronic side of things all the time. He's the materials guy. So I just said to him, you've got your recreator there. If you want to test the motors rather than having to finish building out the baby belt, use the recreator, unplug the extruder motor, the pultrusion motor from the recreator, and then go from there. So plug the NEMA 11 into there once you've wired it up, and then just try it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, rewire it. Yeah. So I'm proud of you, dude. I'm proud of you. Big scary, not so much anymore. This bot's going to be cool. This bot is going to be very cool. Especially because we don't necessarily now need the Scoopy flipper. We don't necessarily need that anymore, so that's good. Yeah. Now to solder the header and thermistor. The heater and thermistor. I say the polarity on those wires does not matter at all. You don't even necessarily have to match the same gauge of wire. I don't think on mine. No, they aren't. The gauge of wire is not matched on mine at all. So, yeah. Use the heat shrink solder butt connector things, whatever you want to call them, and you'll be fine. And speaking of fine, this might be a fine time for me to call today's stream to a close, because we've made progress. Let's have one more check on the printers to see where they're at. Let's transition to that. That shot with the weird placing and everything. Scene switch. Oh, that one fell down. I knew it would. There we go. So, this printer is printing out the Y idler, the rear of the Z axis, and we're good on that front. The one that will be the Prusa block printer is currently printing the enclosure lid for the electronics, so that's a 5x something plate, and the 2x11 for the Y-axis, and the one that's currently going in blue, which if the camera was to wrap around and it would reach the other side, that is printing a 1x2 and a 1x4 so that we have a nicer variety of colors, because I may have put too many of one color in place. Hey, look at that. It says Prusa block on the Construct C1. So, there we go. I am looking forward to developing this idea more. I really am. The printer block cleaner upper thing, I'm looking forward to it. I might not have enough marble pieces to finish the whole track on stream tonight. Oh! Well, you know what that means, Reliance. Get printing. Hopefully, they'll be finished or close to finished in time for tonight's stream. Hopefully. Just so I have the correct picture in my mind, you will add a side frame to that center wedge, correct? Yes, I will. There will be a side frame on that center wedge. So let's go back to the scene. There we go. And go back to Tinkercad. There will be a full panel on here, so that will be fully enclosed. Yeah, that will be enclosed. So this belt will be closer to the middle, and any tensioners will have to be inside the frame itself. So the front of the belt would be on a fixed point, and then the rear, I believe, is where we would adjust any tension. But I just had it open so that you could see how I was going to insert things. So make the space, have the top idler, sorry, the drive at the top be embedded in. And that way we can have the closed loop of the belt, and we can just slide it in like you do for the baby belt build. Because you slide that over the bed. It makes sense. I think it makes sense. I'm not entirely sure. I'm also not entirely sure how big this thing's going to be. I'm kind of limited at the size of a Construct C1 or a Creality K1. Because it's printer block, we could build it bigger. We can always do that, but I feel like the frame needs to be a solid piece. Also, how do you then print the frame? Because, man, you know, you print the frame. If you print it on its side, this piece here, whoops, rotate 90 degrees. This piece here will be weak because of the layer lines. They'll be like that. So there would be a shear force here. And if you were to print it stood up at this sort of size, it's already 226. So maybe that could fit on a K1. That should fit on the K1. But then you're printing that in midair, so you've then got to account and add some supports into it. That is a question that I need to ask Ace about at some point. Or if the width is right, 82, print it on the baby belt, Doug. Print it on the baby belt. Perfect thing to print on a baby belt. But 82 is a bit narrow. It needs to be wider than that. So then you print the frame in 2 halves. And then you've got to make sure that they all line up nicely. Oh. The best way to print the box of the body. I think it makes sense to print it like this. And then just add something in here to strengthen it up. So instead of having a sharp corner, you have a radius. Something like that. You just end up with a radius in it. Can I add a radius? What can I use to add a radius? Oh wait, no, I can't. Screw it. Let's just add a cylinder for a minute. That'll do. You do. Yeah, you just add it in somehow. I don't know what the right angle is. Right angle. Either way, point remains. Bloop. You just add a radius into it, and then there you go. So, that'll illustrative purposes. It's fine. It's fine. I tell you, nobody ever. Why does nobody believe me when I say it's fine? When you know. Do you know what else is fine? Do you know what else is fine? Your face is fine. Because you turned up. You know? You turned up to the burnout hour. because why not? Before I go, how are you? How are all of you? Yeah, I'm going to open the floor up. What projects are bugging you right now? Because we've all got a project, or too many projects, or several projects. Just far too much fun things to think about. So I'm going to open it up to you guys. What do you want to have a quick rant about? Because, hey, why not? Just want to think about this for a minute. I'm having issues getting my U1 calibrated, but other than that, it's going pretty well. Snapmaker. Which areas are you having issues with calibration with your Snapmaker U1? Because Ace has got a Snapmaker. See? I told you. We know that Reliance is printing more marble track pieces for tonight's stream. So if you like marble contraptions, then you can you're more than welcome. I say you're more than welcome. Go watch Reliance. It's an instruction at this point. Go check out his work because those tracks are blooming incredible. I realized I didn't transition back to Edge again. So you've all just been sat here looking at my face as I think. I'm getting a sensor issue on Toolhead 4. What type of sensor issue? See? We're the community that helps each other. Delta. Dreams is in the printer block. Dreams is the printer block, printer clipper, or Marlin. That all depends on which one you want to build. By default, these are clipper. By default. I say by default because if you were to want to, it's easier to get the settings found and discovered on Clipper. It's easier to find out your true build volume that you've got, your true height that you've got, and what the kinematic capabilities of the printer are from within Clipper. You can then backport, you can take the printer CF configuration file and then use that to inspire your configuration.h. So again, it's just, you might build a Delta block or a 120mm bed printer, and then you might only get, say, 90 by 95 on the X and Y, and you might have put physically 180 for the Z, but you might only get 150. So again, that's where you would find the minimums and maximums for print volume and travel, and then take that back into Marlin if you wanted to build a, I say stable, if you wanted to build a, yeah, I'm gonna say stable, a more stable platform to work from. But that's just my opinions. Like, I don't know where. I don't. That's pretty much it. Toolhead 4 calibration sensor anomaly. Right. Let's have a think for a moment. We can right. So I'm trying to think, is there a place where both Ken and Ace are? So I might put a link to my to the Discord server into chat. If you really wanted to join it, you could. And that way can carry on the troubleshooting there. Because I don't know if yourself, Ken, and Ace have a mutual grounds that you are both a member of. Yeah. So there you go. Because unfortunately, I'm useless and I don't have a U1, so I can't point you in the right direction other than, Ace, you know things. Oh, you're both in... Wait, you're in Recreator 3D and the Professor's Discord. And you're in Recreator 3D and the Professor's Discord. Huh. Oh yeah, Reliance has got a Snapmaker U1 as well. There you go. Problem solved. See, there's 3 of you now. That works. That's brilliant. Friends, exactly. Oh wait, hang on, Josh, have you got U1 as well? I think you do. So that way there's 4 of you. Bunch of show-offs with you Snapmaker U1 and not sharing with me. Did the whole QR screen check already? Did the whole screen QR check already? What? What? You want a QR code? I can find you a QR code to scan. I've got one around here somewhere. When I find it. I mean, I did have a QR code. I don't know where I put it. Nope. Can't find it. But you know what I can find? You lot. I can find all of you. And I can find you an end to this stream. Thank you for coming. If you've liked it, there's a like button. If you don't like it, then share it with a friend and tell them that this guy sucks. I shall be back on Thursday at, in theory, the usual time of 9:30 p.m. British summertime, which is 22:30 European summertime, which is 4:30 p.m. on the US East Coast, which is in theory, 3:30 p.m. on in the Texas, which is I don't know what time that is on the West Coast or Mountain Time. So yeah, I'm good at these things. I'm good at this. Just like I'm good at saying goodbye. Bye. Jesus. Why did that feel so rushed all of a sudden? That exit felt so rushed. Oh, fun times though. Fun times. I'm looking forward to that build now. That's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good build.